Good morning, folks. Dan Buglio here. As you can see, I'm wearing a t-shirt. It's in the 50s this morning, and instead of coming out all bundled up with a hat and a jacket, I just figured I would enjoy a little bit of cool air to wake me up. It's about 7:38 in the morning. I don't really know. I think it's about 8 o'clock. Anyway, today's topic is again going to be about this whole function of the brain. And a brilliant therapist, Marissa Peer, P-E-E-R, pretty much says that the brain's job is to give you exactly what you want. Now, consciously, you don't want pain. Consciously, you don't want weakness. Consciously, you want good things. However, if your entire day is spent thinking about everything you don't want, I don't want to be weak, I don't want to be in pain, your brain interprets that as, well, that's what they want, because that's what they're thinking about all day long. So you've got to shift your thoughts, take ownership of your thoughts, and really get to the point where your brain believes that what you want is actually what you want. Write out a list. Literally, write out a list. What do you want? I want a life with freedom of movement. I want a strong body that is capable. I want amazing balance, right? I want a good career. I want a happy family. Write out everything you want. And if you can't get there, you're saying, well, shit, I don't know what I want. Maybe, you got to answer this for yourself, but it may be that you've spent however long focus on everything you don't want. So I'd recommend you check out Marissa Peer. Again, that's P-E-E-R. Go search her on YouTube, and she's got tons of videos out there, whether they be interviews or whether they be presentations of her own. Watch Marissa Peer and listen to how she talks about the brain's job. Again, she believes the brain's job is to give you exactly what you want. And so it's up to us, our conscious adult self, to give our brain the proper instructions. And she explains, the brain does not have a choice. It will simply respond to the instructions you give it. If you give it lousy instructions, the brain will respond with a lousy result. If you give the brain really good and positive instructions, it will respond with a life of good and positive things. Now look, there are some things outside of our control, but I'm talking about things that we do control. And so evaluate whether or not you are giving your brain good instructions. Are you telling your brain, I am weak, and if I fall down, I can't get back up because my legs are too weak? Well, if you've been saying that to yourself for the past year, what do you think is going to happen when you fall down? Your brain's going to say, you're too weak, you can't get up, because that's what you told me to deliver. So you really, I know it sounds hokey, but you have to believe, and you have to repeat, and you have to instruct your brain to deliver strength to your muscles, to your legs. If you feel you can't get up when you fall, you're probably not going to be able to, because you believe that. And so give your brain proper instructions. I am not saying stop the negative thinking, stop the negative thoughts, because as I may have said before, stopping our brain from thinking anything is impossible. Our brain doesn't shut off. Our brain goes 24 hours a day, even when we're sleeping. But for the most part, during the day, we've got this internal dialogue that runs constantly. And so you have to become aware of, what am I telling myself? What's the internal dialogue? Is it fear-based? Is it lack of capability-based? What is that internal dialogue? And I'm not going to say stop the negative internal dialogue, because that's impossible. But what you can do is replace it. So replace the internal dialogue with positive statements of capability and I can do this. I am strong enough to get up. I'm not worried about falling down because I know I can get up, right? And don't live your entire life in this fear-based paradigm where you are convincing and programming your brain and hardwiring it through neuroplasticity to be weak and unable. Does that make sense? So it's our brain. We own our brain. And it is not an external entity of ours. It is not something external that does something to us. It is our brain. And you have the conscious ability to shift and change and replace your negative-based thinking with positive-based thinking. And that's your job. That's your responsibility. And if all you are doing all day long is giving your brain negative, bad instructions, your brain is a computer. You are the software programmer. So you must program positive instructions into your brain so you can do more. That's really your job. So think about neuroplasticity. Whatever you think and believe most often is what becomes hardwired, right? And then think about the instructions you're giving your brain. Are you giving your brain the instructions to deliver weakness and frailty and incapability and a life of disability? Because you're thinking about that and worried about that and telling yourself that all day. If I fall down, I can't get up. Or are you truly programming your brain for, I don't care what happens. If I fall down, I'm getting up and I'm capable of doing it. All right. So affirmations, real quick on this one. Affirmations. I am strong, I am capable. Yeah. Your brain and your bullshit meter goes off and says, bullshit, bullshit. No, you're not. So a friend of mine, Noah St. John, he wrote a book called The Secret Code of Success. Met him about 10 years ago, and he turned the self-help industry on its head. Affirmations are great if you can sustainably and consistently do them long enough for your brain to believe it, right? So a good way to flip that script is to ask yourself empowering questions. How come I know I'm capable of getting up? How come I know I am strong? How come I know I've got perfect balance? Right? Start to ask those questions, because what the brain does when you ask questions, the brain goes to work like the dutiful computer that it is, and it will go to work answering your questions. So ask the right questions. Don't walk around all day saying, how come I'm such a loser? How come I'm so weak? How come I'll never get better? How come this isn't working for me? You know why you don't want to do that? Because your brain will spend the rest of the day looking for answers and finding 50,000 answers as to why you're a loser and why you're incapable and why you're disabled and why the pain is never going to go away and why you're not able to get rid of this TMS or distraction pain. Because those are the questions that you've plugged into the computer, and the computer has no choice. It will come up with answers. So ask the right questions. How come I know my body is strong and capable? It's a much better question, right? How come I know my body can end this pain? How come I know my subconscious is no longer afraid of my emotions? How come I'm such an emotional person who welcomes the emotions, allows them to be felt, allows them to be heard, and allows them to leave? Come up with a list of 10 empowering questions that when you pose those to your brain, the answer will deliver the life you want, not the life you don't want. So I'm rambling a bit here, covered a lot of topics, but the instructions you give to your brain matter. They are the most important thing you can do for yourself on this journey of ending your distraction pain, your distraction symptoms, your distraction weakness. Look, physiology exists. Go to the gym. I mean, I worked out just before I came out here. Physiology exists. Strength can be built, and that's all wonderful. But I'll tell you what, all the exercise in the world will not overcome a constant belief that if I fall down, I can't get up. Sorry, all the working out in the world will not overcome that if all you do all day long is be fearful of falling and tell yourself, I can't get up, I can't get up, I can't get up. Your brain will deliver that to you. So, that's what I have for you today. Hopefully it's helpful. You do have control. Take control. Own it. It's your brain. It doesn't operate outside of you. It's your brain. Your conscious mind needs to decide and believe the things you want to happen. Because the goal of this whole distraction pain work is to convince our subconscious brain of what we want. And if the conscious brain doesn't believe it, how do you expect the subconscious to believe it? Because the conscious brain has to believe it and repeat it and instruct the subconscious over and over and over again until the subconscious gets it. So take ownership. These are your thoughts. Own them. Decide which ones are positive. Decide which ones don't belong. Replace the ones that don't belong with the ones that do belong, and create the life that you want. So with that, I'm going to wish you guys a good morning. Thanks for listening. If anybody has any comments, by all means, please leave a message down below. Leave a comment. And if you think somebody else could benefit by this, please share this with your friends or within a group or wherever you are. So I appreciate you. Thank you.